Start.
Sure, just one in a second. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome again to Roland's Reviews. We are continuing the series, Our Voices. There we go, from the Jim Crow era. And I told you that I'm trying to talk to as many people as I possibly can. I am learning so much from these very candid conversations that I'm having with people. My heroes, my sheroes, people who paved the way for me. For those of you who are in my generation, they paved a road for you as well. And I am thoroughly enjoying this Our Voices series, and I'm going to continue with it. I'm receiving a lot of positive feedback in reference to this particular series. So I'm just going to keep it going. And remember, those of you who are here, please hit the like button, share this stream out. Also, subscribe to the channel. And we're just glad to have you here on this Sunday afternoon. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So just be thinking about some of the questions that you may have. How you doing, Rosalind? Think about some of the questions. Reese, how you doing? You may have for Miss Miss Jeanette Hooker Wright, as she discusses some of her personal experiences. So, I have, how you doing, Chef? Fine as wine. My partner's here. And we're just getting started, Chef. So think about some questions that you may have for Miss Hooker Wright. And think about, how you doing? Tina's here. Think about experiences, as I hear some of the younger generation talking about, oh, life is so hard. I'm like, no, and if you haven't had the experiences that African Americans who lived through the Jim Crow era have had, I don't want to hear it. Okay. So how you doing? B Sugar is here. So let's listen to what Miss Hooker Wright has to say. How you doing, Rock Just Living? And again, I will be, go ahead with your questions. Miss Hooker Wright is going to answer the questions that you have for her. She's going to go ahead and get started and tell us about her personal experiences in the Jim Crow South.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Hooker Wright. I was actually born near the end of the Jim Crow era. I was born in 58. Actually 62, 64 is when I start having memory. 64, I was 6 years old. Okay. Started school in a segregated school. The thing that caught my attention during my very young years in school was the fact that our new textbooks came from the Caucasian school. All our new books was marked Carthage Elementary because I was in that area, and we were at Pinckney High School. So,
excuse me, right? Which area? What part? What state?
Moore County, Carthage, North Carolina.
Carthage, North Carolina, folks. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then because the segregated schools back then consisted of all the African American children in all the surrounding areas of Carthage. So we lived in Carthage, but we had friends from Vass, we had them from Robbins, we had them from some from Aberdeen. I mean, it was just a mixture. Vass, Cameron, all those small areas in Moore County went to the Pinckney School. So okay. Quite naturally, when they integrated, we all ended up in different schools. If you were in Carthage, you went to Carthage Elementary. If you were in Vass, you went to Vass Elementary. If you were in Cameron, you went to Cameron Elementary. So people we started out with, we did not come back together, which okay. I really didn't get to come back with them because we moved. Okay. But in that particular area, those that stayed in that area, they didn't come back together until they went to high school.
Okay.
When they went to high school, a lot of the Cameron, Vass, Carthage ended back up in the same school. They integrated at the end of my second grade year.
Okay.
So back then, what was known for kindergarten, where we got kids go to kindergarten, start and finish from start in August, finish in May, like everybody else. Our kindergarten was like 2 weeks in the summer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I went 2 weeks in the summer to Pinckney. That was considered my kindergarten, and I went to first grade from there.
Okay.
Went into the integrated schools in the third grade. There you saw very few of people that looked like us,
Okay.
because of the split and everything. It was very few of us. Matter of fact, I had a teacher at once that asked me. She was a white lady. She asked me to. She asked me. I'm sorry about that. She
That's
asked
fine.
me to help her do some cleaning at her house. And
Right.
she knew my mom, and my mom had said, okay, and she came and she picked me up. I was in third grade. She
Oh,
came pick me
wow.
up. She came pick me up early in the morning, about 7:30. And I went to her house and I helped her clean out sheds. I helped her clean out attics. I did a lot. I was
Right.
there all day. For lunch, I had a cucumber sandwich. That was the first time I'd ever had what you call a cucumber sandwich.
Wow.
And I got home right before my mom came in from work. And my mom asked me when she got home, she said, did Miss McKeithy come pick you up? I was like, yeah. She said, well, what did you do? And I went through all of everything I've had
Right.
done. And she said, well, did she pay you anything? And I
Uh-oh.
said, yes, ma'am. And she said, well, how much did she pay? I said, she give me $1. Oh, my mom got so mad. She told me, she said, you better not ever go work for nobody all day and come home with $1 no more. But,
Yeah.
that was just, a child not
Right.
knowing. And so I did third grade, fourth grade, and half of fifth grade
Right.
in the Carthage Elementary School that was integrated.
Miss Hooker,
And
right.
yes,
Question for you.
yeah.
So, did you experience or did you feel any animosity from your white teachers since you were coming in when and the integration was just getting started?
I can't say that I really felt any animosity, anything. It just, what I knew was I had to perform above everybody else.
Okay. Okay.
I knew that.
Okay.
So I tried to exceed in everything that I did, because in third grade, before I moved on to fourth grade, I had took to reading.
Okay.
And I had read all the third grade books to the point that I had gone over to the fourth grade hall and started reading fourth grade books so that I could just keep reading. So I just knew that I had to perform better, you
Oh,
know.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so fifth grade, we moved to Albemarle, and Albemarle had not integrated their elementary schools.
What year was that, Miss Wright?
That was in 68.
And now, folks, remember the Supreme Court handed down their landmark decision, Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. Okay, remember
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah. So they had integrated the high schools,
Okay.
but they had not integrated the elementary schools.
Okay. Okay.
So I went right back into a segregated school.
What is 65?
That was 68.
68. Wow.
68. Yeah, I went right back into a segregated school for the remainder of my fifth grade year.
Okay.
And Albemarle had the high school split junior high and senior high. And
Okay.
so junior high was 7th through 9th, and high school was 10th through 12th.
Right.
So when they did integrate elementary school, I left a segregated elementary school and went back into an integrated elementary school in
Wow.
69.
Okay.
So and from there on, I was always in integrated schools. But when I got to the high school, that's where I noticed more what you might call bias
Okay. Okay.
in different situations, because like I said, the segregated elementary school have kids from all over in communities and things like that.
Right.
When they
Mhm.
integrated, I mean, I was in Albemarle City schools, and a lot of them was in the county schools, so
Right.
they had the two split up. So
Okay.
many, nowadays you just got a county and they got schools all across the county.
Right.
In this case, they had a city school and they had county schools.
Okay.
And I was in the city schools, and a lot of the people that I had met was going to the county schools.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So my class, it was a small high school. My class, if I'm not mistaken, I counted because I found the program a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
My class consisted of like 125 total.
Okay.
And out of that 125, it may have been 25 Black.
Okay.
So we were very low in number, in ratio. And so when we had class, if you had 2 or 3 of us in a class of all Caucasians, we done good.
Okay.
And that's where I always felt the bias. And
What type
I
of
was,
bias?
yeah, I was just one that didn't know how to keep my mouth shut,
Okay.
especially when I felt like I was being mistreated. And
Okay.
throughout my high school, and every time I say anything about it, I say, Lord rest my mom's soul, because if she knew, she'd probably turn over in her grave,
Yes, ma'am.
because they didn't call home like they do now. They,
Okay.
back then you could get away with stuff, and your parents probably never would know. And in
Right.
this case, I got through out of 3 classes, and she never knew it.
Miss Hooker Wright, I have a question. So were people making statements towards you in a derogatory manner? What was the issue?
Well, one of the issues, like I said, we would always have maybe the most you would have maybe 4 or 5 African Americans in a whole class of Caucasians.
Okay.
And the first instance was my first year in high school. I was in a gym class,
Right.
and it was about 5 of us in there. And this particular day we were playing volleyball. Well, I didn't like volleyball. I didn't want to play.
Okay.
And so the coach had told me, well, just sit down,
Right.
so I did. But all the Black girls was on one team, and of course the other team was all Caucasian.
Right.
And I was sitting right on the line, and I can't remember how it was. All I know is the ball was either in or out, and the coach called it a different way. And
Okay.
I responded and said, no, that's not right.
Okay.
And I was told that, I didn't ask you to call the game. You need to sit there and keep your mouth shut.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, well, no, but all the Black girls is over here. And, and
Right.
I just kept going. And next thing I know, she told me to just shut my mouth and just go to the locker room, just get out of her class. And we were close to the end of the school year at that point.
Right.
And I left. I went to the office. I did have a little bit of a rap with the principal, because
Right.
his son was in my class. And so
Okay.
he had known me down through the years. And he asked me, he said, well, he said, it's too late in the year to do anything.
Right.
He said, you just lose the credit.
Right.
He said, I can't put you in another class. He said, the only thing I can suggest is you come to the office during that class period.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And I did.
So
And yeah, well, the coach finally come to me a couple of weeks later and told me if I'd come back to class and keep my mouth shut, she'd give me my credit. So
so you
I
did.
did. I did.
So
So I got that.
Miss Hooker Wright,
Yes.
Did you notice any, or were you aware? Uh, we know about everything that was going on when, so far as desegregation of the schools. Did you, or were you aware of any, picketing? We know people's lives were threatened. Of the Black students who were integrating schools were constantly being bullied, spat upon, kicked, beaten up, you name it. Everything happened. Were you aware of any incidences like that?
Well, seemed like every year, and as age has gotten upon me, I can't remember everything,
Right.
but I do recall every year we had some type of a racial uproar at the school, to the point that they would have to dismiss school. Police was called in.
Oh, wow.
Students were getting hurt. Actually, some students had bought bicycle chains to school,
Whoa.
so there was always a riot at least once a year at some point, because something just wasn't right, or they didn't think it was right, but as far as the actual reasoning, I cannot remember, but I do
Right.
remember the riots.
Did you witness like parents and people from the community actually, walking around with picket signs and making threats like what happened in Little Rock, Arkansas?
No, I didn't really experience any of that during the integration.
Okay.
I just knew that a lot of people didn't really want us there. The NAACP was very instrumental during my high school years about different things that
Right.
happen in the school system, especially to our children, because like I said, there was always some type of racial tension or whatever, and the ones that would get suspended would be us. And they would have to come in and do whatever,
Right.
to get us back in school and do what needed to be done.
Yes, ma'am. Very interesting what you said earlier, because I've already had two previous interviews. You said you've already viewed the videos in the Our Voices series. And a statement that you made earlier, they were saying the same thing. You knew you had to be twice as good. You had to be twice as hard. That's something that's reverberating. I'm hearing this with everyone that I talk to.
Everything you did, you had to be twice as good, because you just weren't going to get it being average.
Wow.
You weren't going to get it being average.
Oh,
you had to go that extra step.
Right. There's a question for you. I don't know if you remember Kevin Williams. He said, how was it after the integration as far as hanging out or going to the white children's parties or houses? So did you ever get to that point?
No, never got to that point to where we were actually partying together.
Okay.
My mom passed my senior year in high school.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And so that's okay. But, yeah, she passed my senior year in high school. So the interactions that I was doing was amongst my peers, being 16, 17 years old. And actually, the day I graduated, my mom passed exactly a month before my senior graduation.
Whoa.
And I left school for a week and a half.
Okay.
And my principal asked me, he said, with the grades that I had and everything that was going on, if I would just come back and give him a week.
Right.
That he would make sure that I graduated with all my right grades and nothing held against me. So I went back for that 1 week, and the night of graduation, I traveled an hour to my graduation. And so I wasn't there for the group picture. I wasn't there for rehearsal. I wasn't there for any of it. I graduated that night. I talked to some of my classmates. I hugged and went on, got back in the car with my brother, and we traveled another hour back.
Oh, wow.
So now, if we have a reunion, we can come together now, but you're talking over 40 years,
Okay.
So
Kevin Williams also has a statement for you here. He says he remembers his dad told him stories about how detentions were high between blacks and whites after integration. So I'm pretty sure if I, had the opportunity to speak with him, it would be the same, because I'm hearing a lot of the same, instances.
Oh yeah. Because like I said, that just the gym class that I got thrown out of, I literally got thrown out of a study hall.
What did you do in the study hall, Miss Hooker?
I literally got thrown out of a study hall. I mean, to me, they say study hall, but back in the day, who went to study hall and studied? Nobody. And we were in there, and I just happened to be in there with my best friend, and she and I did a lot of talking like everybody else did.
Right.
But this particular day that I got kicked out, the teacher had walked out of the room.
Right.
And I don't know what me and my friend were doing, but anyway, she knocked my books off my desk. And I told her to pick my books up. And she wouldn't. So I'm like, well, if you're not going to pick mine up, you're going to pick yours up. So I walked over and knocked hers off. And when the teacher came back in the room, because she was always, everybody be talking, but she'd always get on us two for talking. And I guess I had just got to my limit. And when she came in the room that day, I was down picking up my books. She was down picking up her books. And the teacher, the first thing out of her mouth was, Jeanette, I am tired of you and Ingy. You go in that corner over there, and she go in that corner over there. and it just hit me. And like I said, I've always been mouthy. And I was like, yes, master, we little niggas do just what you say. And I went over, and when I said that, she threw me out.
Miss Hooker, right?
Yeah, she threw me out, and they just had to put me in another study hall.
You were at your limit.
I had done took all I could take from her. Because I'm like, if we're not the only ones talking, why is it always us?
So you felt targeted.
That's exactly what I felt. And at that point, I'm like, won't nobody hurting nothing, won't nobody doing nothing. We were just picking our books up off the floor. Instead of asking what was going on, she just come in very demanding, and I snapped, and that was it.
Oh, wow. Does anyone else have any questions? This has been refreshing. This is great. Does anyone else have any questions for Miss Hooker Wright? I don't want to take up all of her Sunday. She was so gracious. How you doing, Sugar Daddy? She was so gracious in agreeing to come and share some of her experiences during the Jim Crow era, and primarily Carthage, North Carolina.
That's where I started, Carthage, North Carolina, and ended up in Albemarle, North Carolina.
Okay. But she has, given us some insight. And every time I talk to someone, I'm just like, wow. So if anyone wants to know who my heroes and sheroes are, it's the people who came, our people who came before us, who really, really had to go through a lot. So when I listen to some of these stories, I'm thinking, I don't have anything to complain about, but they laid the work, and they made it easier for those people in my generation to be more successful. So I want to take this time. Everyone in the chat has enjoyed you. I've enjoyed you. And I just wanted to share this with everyone. Chef Finest One, please drop your link. You guys know that we have been interviewing celebrities. So we have, be looking for the trailer. I think tomorrow, Chef and I are going to drop a trailer. we will be interviewing a surprise celebrity who most of us know. She has been in several television shows, movies. She's one of my favorites, actually. And I'll just give you a small hint. I'll give you a small hint. She was in a very popular movie in the 70s with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier. I'll leave it at that. Okay. So please be looking for the trailer tomorrow. Chef Finest Wine is going to drop his link. Those of you, there it is. His link is there. Those of you who are subscribed to my channel, most of you I think have already subscribed to Chef's channel, but if you have not already, you don't want to miss the celebrity interview that we're going to have Tuesday night, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so make sure that you save the date. It's going to be a very interesting interview, just a class act all the way. And just look out for the trailers. That's all I can tell you, because we're going to probably push those out tomorrow. So we'll both be interviewing this young lady, and it will be on Chef Finest Wine's channel. That's why I'm trying to make sure those of you who are subscribed to my channel, if there may be one or two of you who aren't here frequently who aren't subscribed to Chef Finest Wine's channel. So please go ahead and do that. I don't want you to miss a treat. Okay. So I'm going to let everyone go. You know, I don't like to take too much of your time. It's Sunday. Some people are retired. Some of us are still working schmucks. So I'm one of the working schmucks. So thank you, Sugar Daddy, for subscribing to Chef Finest Wine. Perfect. I think the rest, Gino, you might need to subscribe. Just about everyone else subscribed to my channel is already subscribed to Chef Finest Wine. So Miss Hooker Wright, I'll have to make sure you get, I'll have to share that with you as well, so that you can see our celebrity interview on Tuesday night. Stanley Price keeps saying he's trying to get it. I don't know why he can't get into the live chat, but he wants me to tell you hello.
Tell him I said hello.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Retired right along with him now.
I'm trying to get where you are. You're my hero. Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and listen to Miss Hooker Wright and her stories. And I'm just going to keep on trying to learn as much as I possibly can from Miss Hooker Wright and my other heroes and sheroes who lived through the Jim Crow era and were successful in spite of the obstacles that were thrown in their way. So all of you, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will see you Tuesday evening, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Chef Finest Wine's channel. Okay, Stanley's here. All right, Stanley Price is in here, and he's trying to say hello to you. Okay.
Hello.
And this cup, everyone's saying thank you for coming to the Rollers Reviews YouTube channel. I had a brain.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes, you too.
I hope to see all of you Tuesday evening, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Chef Finest Wine's channel.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.